Okay, welcome back to GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm joined here by Patrick Sharkey from GA Zone to preview this weekend's under-20 football final. I suppose we'll get on to the under-20 football final, obviously this weekend between Dublin and Galway. I suppose first of all, Patrick, like how good is it to finally, I suppose, have this game over and done with, because like there's been so many stoppages really, like throughout the championship in terms of the 20 football championship. So how good is it to finally get it back up and running?
Yeah, look, I seen the suggestion there. Like, you know, it was on, I think it was the Tuesday or Wednesday, it was called off, and then Dublin and Galway were meant to be playing a dead rubber game in the league. So there was maybe talk of maybe putting out just the under-20s as a bit of a bragging rights kind of thing without the trophy. But no, look, it's good. You know, it's in Croke Park now instead of Portlaoise, so it's probably it probably should have been in Croke Park anyways. Credit to the, you know, it's just respect for the players for getting to the All-Ireland final. And before the game, you know, we've a good double header on Saturday evening. You know, I think that's 2:00, and the All-Ireland football final will be on at 5:00. So it's good that we have that. And yeah, so look, you know, I would have liked it to be played maybe October, start of November, but look, anyways, I can't complain. We get it finished, and finally we get an under-20 champion for 2020.
Yeah, I suppose it was kind of strange that they did cancel the championship and the minor championships as well, because you even had like Dara Canavan, who came into the Tyrone senior football team even after the under-20 football championship was suspended. So it was very strange. Like, do you think it was right for them to cancel it? Like, did you see the logic behind the GEA deciding to cancel the under-20 football championships?
I'm not a doctor, and I know the older you get, though, the more likely you are actually to catch COVID-19. But still, maybe I think, you know, because
it's hard to know. I suppose
the GE was able to meet the elite sports brackets, I think at senior level, because they were able to provide PCR testing or something, like the exact level of testing. So maybe whatever Croke Park didn't have enough, you know, you look at it, you know, 32 counties, you know, even Kilkenny puts forwards underage football teams and minor and under-20s, and I know there's only one under-20 football games, still plenty of hurling, plenty of minor football and hurling. So, you know, that would probably need to be, you know, dished out to them, and maybe there just is only so much the GA can provide there. And, you know, it's as much as a good players they are, and, you know, there would have been more demand for the senior championship. So, you know, the GA just decided whatever, you know, get the best testing out to the senior championships, and so it was, and now it's out to the senior championship. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is a hard one to know. Like, it's kind of it's a sensitive issue in many ways. Like, but I suppose getting onto the game then, like just having a look at, I suppose just kind of looking back at Galway's route to the final, because obviously there was 2 stoppages in between both you know, all their games really. Like, obviously you had two separate lockdowns, so they obviously beat Mayo on penalties in the first game in the Connacht Championship. Matthew Tierney scored 1-2 that day. Interestingly enough, Oisin Mullen and Mark Moran were both in the Mayo team in that game. They then beat Leitrim 112 to 2 points, and then they hammered Roscommon 4-13 to 5 points in the Connacht final. So I suppose it's fair to say that Galway have a good few players coming through at the moment.
Yeah. Look, as you say, they were quite convincing, even against some Mayo players who, you know, will see themselves getting game time this Saturday. So it is good in that aspect, and probably shows, you know, if I was a Galway fan with Patrick Joyce in charge, and, you know, the good run last year at the minor championship, and some of them even on that panel, but, you know, I'd be pretty confident, you know, that Galway footballs might win an All-Ireland at senior level in the next 5 years. And so definitely I think Galway are going to come in with a lot of belief about them. And I know Kerry were a little bit unlucky because COVID-19 probably rocked a bit of their squad, but they still had a lot of players maybe who done quite well with the Kerry minor team over the years, so it doesn't mean anything, you know. And, you know, Luke Brosnan, East Kerry man, you know, very, very good player and has a lot of potential. Will be a top star, I'm sure, for in recent years. So like they're still beating a top Kerry team, and look, credit to them, and they've got the right structures in place, Galway, and certainly, I think if they win on Saturday, it's going to be a sign of things to come for the tribesmen.
Yeah, they beat Kerry 115 to 110. And it was an interesting game. All right, like obviously Kerry had a lot of players that were, I suppose, out due to COVID. I think Galway had a few players missing as well, and I think Paul Walsh went off at half time, which Paul Walsh is probably one of Kerry's top players on their 20 level as well. But yeah, they managed to kind of get the victory, grind out a victory in the game, win by 5 points in the end. Especially late on, Kerry just couldn't seem to get back into the game when Galway just really had full control. Ryan Monaghan and Tom O'Culhan were both good players on that day as well. Like what chance do you give them? So going in against the Dubs, obviously Dublin will be the favourites, I'm sure, but Galway they've looked like they were going to get beaten a couple of times. Like Mayo nearly beat them, but in the end, here they are in the final.
Yeah, look, I give them, it's going to surprise some people, and I think it is another game and all the rest, but I think even though they have Ciaran Archer and other players, top players, Dublin, and, it's probably, these lads are probably, going to be playing for Dublin when they won their 25th Leinster in a row, but I'd be probably, back. Yeah. I'd be back in Galway to Winnipeg. Put them Dublin by a point. I think they have the right quality in them, and I just think there's just as that quality in Dublin, and these are the same, some of those Dublin players got beat by Kildare in the minor championship last year. Others, just maybe there's just that quality and experience within Galway, I think, do it. And even some Corfin lads in the team, they know about big days out in Croke Park and all the rest, and I just think it's going to be a Galway one.
Yeah, I suppose looking at Dublin and some of their route to the final, they beat Wicklow, Longford, Meath and Laois on their way to the Leinster title. They won every game by a minimum of 10 points. They beat Meath by 13 points, so Meath was the biggest win for Dublin in both Leinster and under 20 championships this year. Unfortunately, Dara isn't here, so I can't rub that one in.
Yeah.
But I suppose, like, for yourself, obviously, like obviously, as a Donegal man yourself, is it disappointing or, I don't know, frustrating in some ways to see Dublin winning Leinster, not just at senior level, but I suppose even at under 20 level so comfortably, because they obviously they lost in the minor championship against Meath this year, and they lost to Kildare last year, but I don't know, something doesn't seem right with the Dubs at minor level, but at under 20 and senior level, they're cruising at the moment.
I don't think look, Leinster Championship doesn't have much bearing to me. Like, I don't really care too much, but well, considering Kilkenny don't put forward a football team, that means that 10 counties probably are victims of Dublin and Leinster, and that's probably a massive deal at the table. GA conventions, county chairmans and all the rest, they don't like the provincial championships and all the rest, and I don't want to, I probably have a conservative view, and as a Donegal fan, maybe fans from counties like Roscommon and Tyrone and Monaghan would probably tell you the exact same, but you love the provincial championships, and you still, and I think you probably still love the idea of your local derbies with Meath, even though you are still the vastly superior team nowadays, and there's still that element to it, and even Cork and Kerry in recent years. So I just think, hopefully it's not the end of provincial championships. I hope it's just, I don't like the fact that Leinster football is being used as the finger to be pointed at. Look at how bad it is there. And it always seems to be the main advocates to scrap the provincial championship seems to be from Kildare and Meath, but hopefully I just think it doesn't threaten the structure.
Yeah, well, I think like this year, like with what we've seen in Ulster and then what we've seen in Munster as well, I think there's enough evidence there and enough there'll be enough support from people to keep the provincial championships going. Like with Meath and Kildare, like I was saying in your podcast earlier, like I do feel like yes, Dublin are streets ahead, but at the same time, like Meath and like when is the last time Meath and Kildare actually were in Division 1 and didn't get relegated? Like you'd maybe be going back 2016, 2015, maybe, like last time a Leinster Championship team other than Dublin. So like that should be the focus for them first, is to get back up competing with them. Like who do you think stands out in this under 20 team for Dublin anyways? Like obviously a lot of very talented players, but who do you think is the best?
Obviously with his record, and probably helped that he's probably one of many top GA players that probably came back from, being playing soccer over in England and a bit and all the rest. And, he's probably one of those players, like, your Shane, and Ciaran Archer, very top player. And I just think, and he was probably one of the best players last year in the Under 20 Championship. And, he's still as good, young enough to fit that bracket. So it'd have to be him, I'd say, probably will be the showman for Dublin, and definitely there's a lot of potential on him, and he was part of, I think he's only second year was part of that DCU Sigerson running team. So I think, it's probably because he's knowing more and all the rest. So I'd probably have to go with Ciaran Archer.
Yeah, like he's on, because obviously at the moment Dean Rock is hitting on 30, and he's kind of he still has many years left in the tank, but I can already see that Ciaran Archer has probably been lined up as the perfect replacement in many ways, because he is a free taker as well. I don't know if he's as good as Rock, to be honest. I haven't seen enough of his frees, but I know he's like, I don't know if he takes 45s, but I know he is a good free kick taker nonetheless. So yeah, like he'll definitely cause a lot of problems. Lee Gannon as well, Whitehall man, like he's definitely very top player. I reckon he'll cause one or two problems for Galway. But I suppose if you tipped to Galway to win it, so that's your prediction anyway. Galway to beat the Dubs.
Galway to beat the Dubs, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think Dublin probably will win it personally. In my opinion, we'll have to see what happens. But
seem to have a good record at under 20, like, and I'll probably I seem to be maybe relying on minor too much at times, off that record, because it's probably always a good sign. But with Dublin, it's a bit hit and miss at minor, but whatever.
Yeah, I think that's another thing maybe that other county, like the counties like Meath and Laois and Kildare, should probably even look at as well. Like if, like obviously a lot they always seem to have very good minor teams, and Dublin are generally quite poor at minor level over the past few years, and then at under 20 level they're brilliant. Like, so where's the players on minor level from Meath and Kildare? Like why, like how are they not going into development squads or going into under these under 20 teams? So it is interesting, and obviously we don't know the answer to that question, only they know. But personally I'm going to go with Dublin to win it by a couple of points. I think they'll just have too much on the day, but it's a very hard one to call, considering there's been so many stoppages in between games. Like form kind of goes out the window. But yeah, cheers anyway, Patrick, for coming on. I'll link your channel down below, or your Spotify podcast and everything else. And cheers for coming on.